Hello everyone, my name is Bhavana Vasudeva and I'm an architect urban planner and teaching in the Department of Architecture at the Maharaja Sayajirao University of Baroda since long. I thank Team NCSBE 2020 for the opportunity, and my paper is based on my teaching experience of design subject and exploration for achieving sustainability through architectural design. As you can see, the title of the paper is Sustainable Spatial Development, Opportunities and Challenges of Teaching and Learning Architectural Design. As we all are aware, that the city's environment is shaped not only by the people who have an important influence, but by everyone who lives or works there. That's why the quote is given by Robert Cohen, and I have quoted it here in the background and context. This presentation is basically divided in four main parts. And the first part discusses the background and context. The second part is about focus of the paper, research question and methodology. The third part discusses the process of teaching and learning. And the fourth and the last part discusses the result and conclusion of the study. Let me come to the what Sir David Attenborough said, and I quote, "Surely we have the responsibility to leave the future generation a planet that is healthy and habitable by all species." In this context, I come to the second slide, the third slide. It says the development process. As we all are aware, the development processes impact the natural environment and considered to be one of the key reasons of climate change. Here you can see from the painting which is done by Mikhail, it shows that how the earth is exploited and because of the development processes, and we also come by the circle, comes back to full circle, and we face all sorts of problems in the world. The rapid growth and climate change is a challenge to create a sustainable built environment. As we are aware that architecture influences the physical and natural environment in a specific way, it has a profound impact on all fields of sustainability. The role of architects and policymakers has become even more critical in the design and management of sustainable built environment. And that's how I started with the finalizing the focus of the paper, which basically the paper focuses on architecture education, especially on design as a tool to discuss the opportunities and challenges of teaching and designing processes for the development of sustainable built environment. It basically came out from the author's years of engagement in teaching the design subject. Then small design interventions met success, which improves the possibilities of more creative and inclusive design solutions for the given exercise, which has prompted students to critically think and then develop on inclusive design solutions. As we all are aware that architecture education, especially design, is a tool which discusses the opportunities, and this paper basically discusses the opportunities and challenges of teaching and designing processes for the development of a sustainable built environment. As we all have experience in the process of learning design or in the process of doing architectural degree, that we always sort of emphasize that you work very hard and death is not an excuse. But instead of that, what we are suggesting here, that critical thinking and analytical thinking put together creates a thoughtful architect, and which is a better architect, which is considered to be the better architect. Now I go next to the research question, which is very important after this background and context. The research question which was asked, which has come from Architecture Education for Sustainable Development, the need was to create to discuss or review the role of architects in sustainable development, then existing problems in teaching and learning for architecture design. Hence, the question was asked that what are the teaching and learning challenges of architectural design for the development of a sustainable built environment. And the research methodology, basically a main sub question, a main question and a sub questions revolve around SWOT, that is strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. SWOT analysis of the current design process of teaching and learning. And how another question which is very important is how sustainable development practices can be integrated into conventional design projects. So research methodology basically consists is observing, asking a question, and listening. It was basically a survey which was conducted in the design class, and generally we have a semester of 16 weeks where we have every week we have 3 design classes. So 16 weeks long semester, where the in-depth interviews with about 100 students and 10 teachers which were involved in design teaching, and a focus group discussion was conducted with a small group of teachers and students. And content analysis helped to sort of perform the data analysis. So the process, the next part of the presentation is the process of teaching and learning design. As we all are aware that there is a conventional design studio or the conventional design education, which is conducted collaboratively by developing a design theme, objective, ideas, issues, and design solution. But here we tried a newer approach adopted to integrate sustainable design practices. It was basically the main objective was to achieve the design studio outcome as a sustainable and comprehensive design. A newer approach was tried, and opportunities were created particularly to make students understand the concept of sustainable development in a holistic manner by integrating methods of basic design, design skills, and understanding of subjects such as climatology and town planning in a design studio, which was tried at the level of second year. So, though they don't study climatology and town planning at this level, but since it was felt very important to introduce these two very important subjects, which are very important in a sense, creating a sustainable built environment. Hence, the preliminary knowledge of climatology and town planning was discussed in the design studio, and then they were made aware about the fundamental principles of these two subjects, and which were integrated in the design, which was very different from the conventional design. Uh, Hence, and after that, this is a third part, the process of teaching and learning design. And the design process began by introducing the concept of Panchabuti, which comprises the introduction of earth, water, fire, air, and akash or sky. In the these 5 elements in the basics of exploring the design. Expected design studio outcomes consist of understand the increasing complexity in design, understanding design elements such as site planning, climate, orientation, etc., use of elementary building elements, construction, and spatial organization, to understand the notion of town planning processes for educational institutions, because they were given the school, they were given a primary school to design, building bylaws, policies and its expression in the built form, as well as open spaces in terms of various layers. So they were basically asked to prepare various layers where small decision like where they will locate their school, which site, and what are the complexities in terms of town planning, what are the different decisions which can affect the context of that particular site, and how that particular they were actually asked to imagine that you are the owner of, or you are the manager of that particular school. Then what kind of a decisions will you take? So they were asked to think of the finances, they were asked to think about the town planning norms, they were asked to think about the people who are going to be the participant, or who are going to be the client, or who are going to be the customer for that particular institution which are going to come up as a school. They were given the full responsibility, and it was sort of a role play also, where all these things were introduced. So it was not uh, only merely a conventional design exercise which were given to them, but the involvement was much more than usually which I have experienced in the earlier years. So the outcome, before this there was a warm up exercise which was given to them, where basic design, their knowledge of basic design, which they generally study in first year and second year, where they play with different forms, different materials, different structures they explore. So that was given as one of the preliminary exercise, where they were to explore that if suppose you are given a certain problem which they are facing in a certain as an institution, then how are you going to solve that? Or if suppose you have to include water, panchabhuti, or these five elements into your exercise, then how are you going to bring that in your school which you are going to design in the later stage? So outcome of initial stage exploratory exercise conducted in design 3 studio, abstract models were prepared by the students, and where the panchabhuti was one of the element which is very important to understand, or to implement sustainable development. So here you can see that there are various models where students have explored jalis, brick jalis. They have explored how the water can be very useful learning tool in a school, or where they can solve various problems like enough sunlight inside, or enough light inside the school, or how a particular tree can play a big role in understanding various concepts of botany, or various concepts of plant, various concepts of rainwater harvesting, or various concepts of light and ventilation. This was the basic initial exercise in the design, where it's a sort of a warm up, where they understood that basic design concepts are not merely an abstract concept, but they can also be explored in terms of designing the wall, designing various playing elements, various tools which can work for the betterment of learning in the school. This was the final result of a design of a primary school, where the warm-up exercise was based on exploratory exercise, and then outcome of the main exercise attempted by one of the students, where I'm sharing it with you in the design 3 and the third semester, where the school is designed, and the models are done as we used to do in a conventional design studio. But here you can see that various climatological aspects are explored as one layer, where while selecting the site, where town planning level layers were explored. Hence, various problems were addressed right away. Instead of just exploring in the design, they understood the various complexity of decision making at the town level, how the institutions are located, how they function, what are the different problems, whether the parking is an issue, whether how students enter inside the premises, how do they go safely outside is an issue, whether it's a waterlogging area, whether it is a low-lying area, or whether there is a industry nearby, or whether there is a residential area nearby. So context of that particular site, or at the town level, how the building bylaws are affecting, whether a road is nearby, whether a highway is nearby, all these aspects which are very important as far as sustainable built environment are concerned, are explored at the third semester level, which is very very early. They hardly learn about it. But here, by exposing them little bit, by introducing these subjects, and after that encouraging them to integrate. So in the first exploratory exercise, they were very happy to sort of integrate the whatever they've learned or whatever they tried hands-on exercises in basic design, but they really understood how to implement it in the real design exercise. So this was a first integration, and after that you can see the results here, where primary school is designed after exploring all that, by solving different issues, and exploring different form and structure, integrating it, and um, also understanding with a thorough understanding of how the site functions, and how the site functions in a particular context are explored here. Here I'll come to the third part of it, is result and discussion. After all this, and after talking to all the students and teachers, and doing the focus group discussion and in-depth interview, there are few observations which has come to the light, is what makes them not design or not understand the sustainability, or integrating sustainability aspects into their design exercise, is lack of coordination between different level of evaluation. So whenever the reviews are conducted, it is not so well coordinated. So it is explored, it has been told by the jurors, but it is not really getting implemented while doing the design. The conventional design studio approach adopted in higher classes negatively affect the students' cumulative experience, because they are discouraged to sort of explore the subjects which are generally taught in the higher classes. The maximum attention is paid to explore form, aesthetics, result, structure, and services, and there is major issues such as passive and active energy efficient measures, air quality, and green materials take a backseat. And the subjects like which is liked, generally liked by the students, because it's a playway method and they get a lot of liberty while exploring like basic design and all. But they don't find that in a conventional system that there is any way by which it can be integrated with the design exercise. So here they got a opportunity, but what is the learning from the research, from the result, and that the findings are that major issues such as passive and active energy efficient measures are explored, is talked about in the later years, but here it takes a backseat. So in a conventional design studio, understanding of the critical thinking method is rarely explored. So I come to the last part of it, is a conclusion, that introduction of macro urban planning and economic and social aspects, which are explored here while discussing the sites at the town planning level, and various economic and social aspects were also discussed, and they were explored in the form of various layers, and they were then a common thread is explored, and the micro level factors like building context and interior design were also explored, factors at the early stage of design process. So that helps a lot in developing a sustainable built environment, at least at the design studio level. And robust review methods play an important role in the development of a sustainable built environment. Here one has to be, the jurors are expected to be encouraging the critical thinking. So one need to really ask thought-provoking questions and discuss examples during the reviews. Then probably we can, this is what is our experience through this particular design studio, that when we asked those questions, then they started thinking, and then robust review method forced them to sort of include or integrate those aspects into their design decision making. The conventional evaluation method must place a greater focus on the environmental sustainability dimensions. Then the development of robust feedback, that includes both student and teacher, and compliance system can lessen the gap between the teaching and engaging students in sustainable development practices. Hence, I come to the last part of it, that sustainability is no longer doing less harm. Is not the sustainability is no longer about doing less harm. It is about doing more good. So, creative thinking and critical thinking should be put together, and that should lead to the problem solving, which is not so in the conventional design method, but we have tried in the newer method, which was tried in the design 3 studio, which includes finding a balance between the development and the natural environment, and then understanding but through various methods of climatology, that how the radiation and other factors are affecting our living environment. And as we all are aware that downs do not grow in vacuum, hence it is to be tried in a fully integrated manner to achieve the sustainability in the spatial development. And I would say that, and I would quote Kofi Annan, that our biggest challenge in this new century is to take an idea that seems abstract, that is sustainable development, and turn it into a reality for all the world's people, so that we can achieve the sustainability in our world. And that is how the budding architects can get this training right away in the college itself, while exploring in a very initial years, so that it becomes a habit, and then we can be more successful in creating the sustainable spatial development. So I would like to end here, and thank you very much for listening.